Have you ever taken a moment to contemplate the sheer scale of the African-American slave trade? This question serves as a gateway into one of the most profound and painful periods in human history. Unfolding over an expansive timeline covering nearly 4 centuries, from late 15th century till the end of the 19th century, this era is characterized by the brutal and forced migration of an astounding 12.5 million Africans. Historically, it has been documented that this colossal movement started around 1525, when the first known slave ship set sail from Africa towards the American colonies, reaching its peak during the late 18th century. During these centuries, voyages across the Atlantic, infamously known as the Middle Passage, became a norm, with an average of 80,000 Africans forcibly transported annually during the peak years. This distressing historical episode is one that is almost impossible to comprehend fully due to its enormous impact. It not only ripped millions from their homeland but also had significant socio-economic implications that shaped the world we live in today. It played a fundamental role in the development of Americas, particularly in the agricultural and mining sectors, fostering economic growth at a profound human cost. However, the effects of this inhuman trade did not stop at the economic level. Its social and cultural scars are evident in the African diaspora today. The loss of lives, the destruction of cultures, and the enduring racial tensions are all legacies of this horrifying chapter of human history. Today, we begin an insightful journey into the past, shedding light on the grim realities of the African-American slave trade, a haunting saga that forever altered the course of human history. The African-American slave trade did not happen overnight. It was a gradual process that escalated over centuries. It all began around the 15th century, when Portuguese explorers dared to venture further down the African coast. Their initial interest was in gold and spices, but they soon discovered a more lucrative trade: human lives. As word of this human market spread, other European powers were quick to stake their claim. The English, Dutch, French, and Spanish all played a part in this grim expansion. They established a transatlantic route, a wretched journey that would come to be known as the Middle Passage. Africa's sons and daughters were captured, packed like cargo, and shipped across the ocean to serve in foreign lands. This was not just a trade route, but a pipeline of despair that connected 3 continents: Africa, Europe, and the Americas. It was the dawn of a dark era. The stage was set for a human tragedy of epic proportions. The Middle Passage is a term that still sends shivers down our spines even centuries later. It refers to the harrowing journey enslaved Africans were forced to endure across the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. This was the second, and perhaps the most terrifying leg of the triangular trade route used by European slavers. Imagine being shackled, crammed into the dark, dank bowels of a ship, surrounded by hundreds of others in the same pitiful condition. The air, thick with the stench of unwashed bodies and human waste, is choking. The noise of moaning, crying, and the clanging of chains is deafening. This was the reality aboard the slave ships, a reality that lasted for weeks, sometimes months. The conditions were so brutal, so inhumane, that it's estimated 1 in 6 enslaved Africans didn't survive the journey. They succumbed to disease, starvation, or simply the despair of their circumstances. Their bodies were unceremoniously tossed overboard, as if they were nothing more than cargo that had lost its value. The Middle Passage was more than a physical journey. It was a process of dehumanization. People were stripped of their identities, their dignity, their very humanity. They were reduced to mere commodities, bought and sold at the whims of their captors. The Middle Passage was a journey through hell, etched in the annals of human history. Once on American soil, the life of an enslaved African was a tale of unending hardship and sorrow. The enslaved Africans were forced into brutal work conditions, toiling from dawn to dusk under the blistering sun. They were made to clear lands, plant and harvest crops, build homes and roads, often with little to no rest. Their basic rights were stripped away. They were bought and sold like commodities, their families torn apart. They were denied the right to education, to worship freely, to marry, or even to bear their traditional names. Yet perhaps the most devastating aspect was the attempted cultural erasure. The enslaved Africans were forced to abandon their languages, their music, their traditions. They were made to forget who they were, where they came from. But the human spirit is resilient. Despite the inhuman conditions, the enslaved Africans held on to their spirit, their culture, their humanity. They found ways to remember, to resist, to survive. The African American slave trade left an indelible mark on the world, a legacy that continues to shape societies today. This brutal period, spanning over 3 centuries, significantly influenced the development of institutional racism, a systemic evil that persists even in our modern progressive era. This trade of human lives laid the foundation for an economic system that thrived on exploitation, and its echoes still resonate in economic disparities we see today. The legacy, however, is not just one of pain and injustice. It's also a testament to the enduring fight for equal rights and social justice. From the abolitionist movements of the 19th century to the civil rights movements of the 20th and the ongoing struggle for equality in the 21st, this legacy fuels a relentless pursuit for justice and equality. The African American slave trade was a devastating chapter in human history, a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink, but also of the resilience of the human spirit.